Have you ever been called too clingy by your partner, or ever been told that you are too unemotional or distant? Or have you ever, if you're single, have you ever wondered why you are avoiding relationships even though a part of you still wants them? Or no matter how hard you try, you still can't just hold on to it? Now, all of this might be because of your attachment style. Now, what is an attachment style? You must be wondering. Well, a research says that when we were kids and when we were highly vulnerable and completely dependent on our parents or guardian or our caregivers, we were completely dependent for them to provide for us. That is when we developed our attachment styles. We developed personalities that influenced how we behaved as kids, correct? Now, that got developed because of the ways that we were treated as kids, the love that was given to us or not given to us. This is how our personalities developed as kids. But it did not stop there. That led to a foundation that we then instinctively bring into our adult life too, and in most of our adult relationships too. Hi, my name is Shagufta, and today I'm going to talk to you about how your childhood experiences or your childhood traumas led in developing your personalities. I'm going to talk to you about different attachment styles and in understanding ways in which you can improve your attachment style or even change it. So let's begin. Okay, now as per the research, there's a simple way of identifying your attachment style. I'm going to state some sentences with you now, and the one that you think applies the best to you will reveal your attachment style. Okay? Statement number one: I feel comfortable going to my partner when something is wrong so that we can work together and solve any problem. Statement number two: I want to be closer to my partner, but I often worry that they don't really love me or they don't want to stay with me. Statement number three: I'm uncomfortable when someone gets too close to me. It's hard to fully trust someone and I rather depend on myself. Statement number four: it's confusing. I want to get closer to my partner and I want their attention. But when we get too close, I get scared and I wonder if I can really trust them. Now, you know which one applies to you the most, which one you relate to the most, and if you relate to more than one statements that I just said, that's also perfectly fine, because I'm going to explain to you what it means and which attachment style it leads to. Okay, so now if you relate to point number one, you have a great advantage, because people who relate to this style, this style is called as a secure style. All right, people who relate to this style you often had parents who were there for them as kids and they tended to all their needs, and most of their childhood memories are good, and it is safe to say that they had a good childhood. So, such people tend to have a very honest, open, and secure relationships with their partners, where both the partners grow at a good pace. Uh, but now that does not mean that they have perfect relationships, okay? It just means that they know how to move past obstacles with a lot of care and self awareness. Now, if you don't relate to this point, please do not worry. Half of the world do not relate to this point. They don't have this attachment style. So don't worry. The good news is, once you identify your attachment style, you all can change it. Like how I am trying to change my attachment style now, and I really hope this video helps you too. Now, if you related most to point number two, this is called as anxious attachment style. Now, people with this style they can have a fantasy belief of what love can do for them or what love will do for them. uh, they can overanalyze situations, and they can even mistake turbulent relationships as passion or real love, and they can really struggle with low self esteem, and that is why they end up being in a relationship uh, with somebody they think they can save, or with somebody that they think can save them. But they don't do this because they're crazy. They do this because when they were kids, their parents or their primary caregivers, they were very inconsistent. Some days they got a lot of love, care, and attention, and some days they were completely neglected. So, such kids, when they experience such in unpredictable behaviors from their loved ones, from their parents or caregivers, they develop a separation anxiety. Now, this separation anxiety, because of this, they always have a constant need to be very close to their partners. They feel that if they are not present or if they are not close, they won't be loved or cared for. Point number three is called as dismissive or avoidant attachment style. Now, people who related to point number three the most, they had caregivers or parents who were emotionally unavailable for them, or they were dismissive of their needs, of their child's needs. All right, and so as kids, they learned how to suppress their feelings and emotions. They were never able to say it out loud. They always suppressed their emotions, and when they grew up as adults, they became highly independent to avoid getting hurt or even abandoned. Now, that is also one of the reasons why these uh, people avoid having deep connections. And lastly, we have the fearful avoidance style. I feel this is my attachment style. Just like the anxious style, this is also formed due to inconsistencies from the caregivers at a very young age. Sometimes the caregivers were very loving and protective, and the other times they were very hurtful and scary. Now, people who resonated with this style, they show a very confusing mix of anxious and avoidant style traits. They also face a lot of inner conflict between wanting to be close to their partners and at the same time resisting it due to the fear of losing them, and hence hurting themselves. And because of this, they also end up having many highs and many lows in their relationships, and they lack consistency. But as I said, don't worry, all of these insecure behaviors and styles can be worked on. Now I'm going to tell you some of the ways that I work, or I'm trying to change my attachment style. Point number one is pay attention to how you respond and react in a situation. Now, for me, I realized that as long as things are okay and things are great, I'm very affectionate, very loving. But as soon as I get hurt, I do two things. I either distance myself and I go into my shell, don't talk at all, or when I have a conversation, I get very hurtful. Now, I still want to be understood in those moments, but at the same time, I also reject any rational conversation or any connection, and which I realized is not fair for my partner. Okay, now ever since I understood this about myself, I try and catch up with myself, and then I push myself to take a break, and then I think about what am I feeling and why am I feeling this, where is this feeling coming from. And when I realize that this feeling is coming from an experience of the past, then I try and rationalize and ask myself this question, that is it fair to behave in the same pattern with a person who has got nothing to do with your past, a person who is in your present and who is trying to make you a better person today. When when you, and then when you are clear in your mind, um, you will be in more control of your actions and responses. Now, this might not always work for you because initially it's going to be very difficult, but trust you me, with consistency, it's going to become easier, and then you will be in more control of your thoughts, of your actions, and your responses. Number two is speak to somebody if you can't rationalize your thoughts, and if you are confused, speak to a mentor, speak to a coach, or even your own partner if you can have that conversation. Walk them through your past trauma. It's always a better idea to address your childhood traumas and experiences than instead of avoiding it. That is what is going to get you to a place of understanding, and with that right self-awareness and good support, you'll be able to change your attachment style and then have good and healthy and secure relationships with those who deserve you. You don't need to be a prisoner of your past trauma and experiences, guys. Well, I hope this video helped you in understanding the different attachment styles and how we developed them, and also in dealing with ways in which you can change them. So, until we meet next time, take good care of yourself.